Hey guys, Chase Scullett here, Chasing Vantage Guitars. I'm going to do a little bit of inlay work on this fretboard here. It's a rosewood fretboard. I've already masked off the board here and laid out. Oh, wow, that's really bright. There you go. Laid out the basically traced my lines. So I come through and I get the board roughed in. So I've got my widths cut, accommodated for my bindings, and then on top of that I've come through and traced out my inlays. I like to use the masking tape because, well, my eyes aren't that great, so the line, I will come back now and cut this, and then as I do that I will, sorry, my dog's over here just shredding up some toys, so apologize for the background noise. Odie. Okay. So anyway, we've got the inlays here marked out. I'm going to go ahead and tilt the camera down and show you kind of how I take my next steps here, and taking a razor knife and cutting around that to give me like a guideline. So when I go to the router, I just kind of work right up to the edge of that tape, and then that allows me to get a nice tight pocket and see it very easily. I've found that trying to score it and chalk it, a lot of times it gets a little hairy and you can't really see the lines as well. And this way here, you've got a really high contrast way to kind of do it. So I think it works really well. So go ahead and get the camera adjusted here, and there we go. And I will, so at this point now we've marked everything out, and I take a razor blade and I just come through and very carefully cut right along these lines. Now I want to apply just enough pressure that I'm also kind of scoring the rosewood as well as cutting through the tape. Another good reason for that is because it will avoid having weird frayed edges along the top when I go and do my routing. Because I've actually cut the fibers in the wood at the face level, it will avoid splintering and everything else. So now I've got that first cut scored out there. Now I've removed that. I'll double check it, lay the inlay back over top of it. I can see that it's, a really nice fit. Well, it will be once the routers come through. But again, so now you've got a real clean, solid line you can work up to, and you can see that tape just want to roll as the router touches it. Tape's kind of flexible, so if you see it start to fudge, you're right along the line, and it'll kind of prevent you from going too far or cutting in a weird way there. So rather than go ahead and go all the way through this, I'm going to kind of bounce around a little bit, and I'm going to take you guys and the camera over to the router, and we'll go ahead and cut in this first inlay and kind of show you, so that way the video is not an hour or two long showing the step for each one of these. So we'll grab this guy and head on over. So we're kind of set up here. Now what I've got here is I've got basically a couple of little wedge sticks and a detent pin, and I've got a trough here. So now the way this works is this sled slides across back and forth, and it gives me like an edge I can kind of butt my router up against too, which is really helpful for pulling a very straight line to get these top and bottom cuts. Now I still have to kind of freehand, along the edges here as it goes, but to come perfectly parallel, now I've got a 90-degree straight edge that'll allow me to cut a really straight line there. Now I've also got a little detent pin here that kind of lock the tip of that fretboard in, and then these two little kind of keys are just some off fall from other fretboards. They happen to be ebony. I mean, they don't need to be ebony, but these just happen to be so. Now the way that this whole jig works is it's kind of, these work as like a clamp. So as these go further in, this is a fixed point, it wedges and really pins this board so it can't move. Like you can see here, I still have a lot of wobble. Well, as I start to key these in, now it's nice and stiff. I'm moving my entire work platform here. So again, we're going to put this inlay in this board. Now, I'm set up with my flange router, and I've got a 16th inch bit in here. A lot of times I like to work with a down cut bit. Unfortunately, I had an oopsie with my router a while back and haven't replaced my down cut bit, so I'm not using a down cut. Now, I've got a stop here, and I'm going to set that stop to the same thickness as this shell. So I've got the router touching the fretboard right now. Now I will release my depth gauge and bring that down so that I'm sitting right on that shell. Tighten that guy back up. And now we are ready to route. So, I'm going to bring this to the line. So the outline's been cut, and then I came back. First I went along the outside edge, then I removed the waist. Now we're going to check this and see if we fit. And we do. We fit really snug in there, which is great. However, my depth of my cut was not quite as deep as I wanted it to be. So I'm going to have to come back and just bring this in a little deeper. But in the meantime, as you can see there, we've got a nice fit. So, yeah, well, thanks for watching, guys, and, keep watching in the future. All right, see you guys later.